Hello, happy Friday. I am coming in here with a Chariot chat on the last day of Cancer season and Leo season eve. Where are my fellow Leos at? Happy birthday to all the Leos coming up. It's our season. So with that, I have just been reflecting these last couple of days actually on all the water that has passed through Cancer season and all of the aspects that we have been flowing through. And, my channeled words for July, ride the waves, and this image of ebbing and flowing of tide and things rising and falling. And then finally, when all of that recedes, this image of what is left on the shore, right? What has washed up for you? What has come forward and been revealed? What treasures came up from the deep for you to examine, to reflect upon, and determine, which seashells are you picking up and taking with you in your pocket, and what are you allowing to roll back out? And, tuning yourself to the elemental energies of water and its ability to cleanse and clarify, and also to bring in the properties of the energy that it is exposed to. So recognizing that, when you are feeling a particular emotion, that it can be amplified or exacerbated by the water. And also that you can allow the water to take on that energy and clear it from you, right? So there's opportunities for us to really embrace the messages that these elements bring forward. So as I start to think about Leo season, I was reminded of a metaphor that Metatron had given me previously. And it was kind of a funny story because it involved one of my kids' battery-operated toys that in the middle of the night just randomly went off, and it was a fireplace. So it was from a dollhouse, and it was just unusually on the floor of my bedroom as I was creeping around in the dark to quietly go to bed and not wake anyone. And all of a sudden it lit up with the flame and the sounds of, a crackling fire. And it was just this interesting moment where I was diving to, throw something over top of it or get it out of the room because I didn't want to wake anybody up, to really reflecting on what had just happened there, that this toy randomly went off on its own and what it was. It was a fire. And it brought me into, of course, the spiritual breadcrumbs never lost on me, this idea that, what fires are you tending to in your life as far as your passions, your desires, what you are burning to bring forward, because those batteries were dying, right? So it was just sort of going off in the middle of the night and, inexplicably, and maybe you can turn it off, maybe you can't, and then it would erupt into like this song, but it was, a poor version of what it was because the batteries were dying. They were losing energy. They were depleted. And so likewise, if we are not tending to our fires, right, it starts to lose its strength. And, just like when we have to tend to a fire to keep it burning, there was this message that had come in with the April 20th Empowerment Pack, which was something that we just reflected back upon over the new moon in Cancer, because being at these nodes shifting signs and everything that has just unfolded since Monday, and it's only Friday, it was shining a light back to that solar eclipse in Aries in April. And so as a part of the new moon messages, I had also included a flashback to that video and the messages that came back at that time. And one of them was the Knight of Wands. And it was in a position about something that was actually leaving. And, it was about things that perhaps used to light us up, or things that we maybe used to be putting a lot of energy into maintaining and keeping burning, specific relationships, a certain job, or a certain, routine or situation in our life, that actually the coals are cooling. The coals are sort of going out, and it's something that no longer actually lights us up, or maybe we just don't feel the passion, or we've sort of lost that feeling. And so really, again, what has washed up on the shores for us to look at? We're in these seasons of retrograde, and that is only continuing as we move into the weekend, as Venus goes retrograde, then Chiron in retrograde, joining the other 3 planets already in retrograde. We're still in this reflecting back and really looking at what are we being called back to take a look at now, to see whether or not that is helping to keep our fires burning. What can we build with what has come up, and I'm seeing this, building a fire, and my Girl Scout days are long gone. So my skills as far as building fires are, not what they used to be, but this idea of gathering the different types of kindling and wood to build a fire and to keep it burning, or maybe to reignite. What are these tools? What are these things? If we're building this campfire on the beach from, coming out of Cancer season and all this watery energy to now getting into this energy of the fire for Leo season, and what are we passionate about, or what new passions are presenting themselves, and building that fire, tending to that fire by gathering up all of these resources that we have around us. The driftwood, again, the kindling is something that quickly lights, right? Something that's kind of going to give us a boost, something that's going to give us, it's been rough, for some of us, it's been very emotionally draining, or in some cases, very heavy. And so even when we maybe have clarity now on what we need to do in order to bring a burst of energy or some type of shift, we might be lacking the oomph, the spark. There's this flatness that I've been picking up on, that I'm well aware of some of these habits or steps that I could be taking, but I'm lacking the spark to do it. So in what way can we ignite that spark? What can we build from what has come forward in Cancer season to really light that fire into Leo season? So we're sort of in this in-between, and that's the other thing, is just sitting with the in-between and being aware that, we're no longer where we once were, but we're not yet where we want to be. We're in the in-between, and can we see the gifts that gives us? Because it's giving us this hanged man moment, right? To intentionally pause, to reflect, gather our firewood, right? Gather our resources. I'm going to build a fire now. I have clarity on what I'm going to allow to wash out, what seashells I'm taking in my pocket, what am I gathering to bring with me, and then what am I going to build now, And it's going to be bit by bit. It's not going to be an instant bonfire, right? So it's really about allowing those things to help ignite the spark. And once we ignite the spark, then, we can continue to tend to that fire and build upon it, knowing that it will reach its amazing, peak bonfire status. But in order to get there, we need to be the little smoking kindling that's starting to, maybe blow a little, get a little air going underneath there to get it going. Which can be just some small steps. It doesn't have to be some big grand, log of wood, because we're building this foundation, right, to ignite that spark. And so, getting a little bit of the fire and the water today as I, sort of reflect back and, trying to rally myself as well. So we're all in the chariot, figuring out where to next. And it's funny because another thing that's been coming up is road rage. So bringing in that, comparison of continuing the car analogies. Myself, my friends, we've been, talking and kind of having these moments of irritation from other drivers, other charioteers, if you will. And, hey, it happens. And also catching myself sometimes getting annoyed or inflamed quickly, and it's, maybe some of that fiery energy coming in, and there's so many other aspects at play that could be feeding into that as well. But, ever endeavoring to have a little more awareness of those around me and feeling like I really don't know what anybody else has going on. But also needing to be a bit of a defensive driver, being aware that some people are very unaware, and sort of in their own world and doing their own thing, and, sort of looking at those protections and boundaries that are set up to be able to navigate smoothly some of the road rage and the perhaps, inattentive other drivers that are out there in their chariots, and of course this is all, yes, physically driving around, but it's an energetic, example of encountering all of the other fools on their journey and recognizing that we're all where we are, and really thinking about, what we give our energy to, again, what we're going to give our energy to and what we're not, and being more discerning, because is this thing going to fuel my fire in a positive way or not? And if it's not, then again, I'm discerning what twigs and sticks and kindling and logs I'm picking up and taking with me for this fire to burn my passion, my light into the world, and which ones can I toss back, that I'm going to build a perimeter around, shielding my fire that I'm tending to, the passion that I have, what I'm bringing forward into the world, that I don't want to spend my precious time, energy, or resources on something that is not helping to maintain that. And again, if there are fires that perhaps I put a lot of time and energy into that I'm desperately trying to keep from going out just for sake of the fact that it's been so long that I've been tending to this fire, it's always been here, this fire, and recognizing that actually it's just no longer fulfilling me, this particular relationship, circumstance, pattern, behavior, way of being, belief that I've been holding, holding a torch for this belief or something that is actually cooling, that is going out, and perhaps I can just allow that to be and redirect my focus. So sort of at this crossroads again of gathering our bearings. And so the hangman moment has us sort of looking at things from different perspectives. And if others have withdrawn their fire from us as well, if we're the one left standing on the shore, like, hey, where did they go? Where did this situation or circumstance go that I'm so familiar with, and feeling any sense of sadness or longing or grief or heaviness around that, maybe take a look at the long term, how this actually is coming up to serve me, that it's freeing me up or creating space, or from that ash, I am able to build something new with the experiences and the knowledge that I have gleaned from having tended to that fire, from having been in that circumstance that I'm now able to apply to something new. So really just sort of this reconciling. And again, the reflectiveness is going to continue as we move into and through all of the retrograde that's coming up, and it's going to hit on different areas of our life and so forth. But, I feel the potential for a sense of the healing and the wisdom that has come through these experiences actually fueling our fire, actually lighting us up a bit, starting to feel that spark maybe coming back a little bit, or feeling motivated to look at creating these new fires in our life in the most positive, forward-moving, and create like a creative burst of energy coming forward. So I guess we'll see where we go from here, but wishing everybody a smooth transition from the water into the fire, and have a fantastic weekend. Much love.